G'day friends, welcome to day 9 of Inktober 2017. Today I'm doing Mother Addams. I'm doing Morticia Addams because last week I did Wednesday Addams. Just didn't feel right to me that I didn't do Morticia. She's just as iconic and just as much fun to draw. So today I wanted to pay homage to all that Angelica Houston went through in that movie. I was reading online, and I knew this before, but I needed to get my facts straight. She was in a metal corset for that movie. Could you imagine how uncomfortable that would be? I can barely survive a day in a regular corset, so... I mean, metal. This is not some Nicole Kidman Moulin Rouge sob story. This was a metal corset, so just that alone, and the whole, like, the gauzes on the face and pulling the eyes back and the neck lifts and all that she went through, I just think it was a feat of modern engineering to keep her face looking like that through the Addams family. So I really love that movie. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again, and especially around this time of year when it feels super relevant to watch that movie. It is a bit of a Halloween thing for me. I don't really watch them throughout the year, but I do love to overindulge around Halloween time. So I just wanted to get on and do Morticia today. Also, did you know, fun fact, Cher was interested in playing Morticia Addams for the movie? Like, Cher. Do you believe in life after love? Cher. Could you just imagine her portrayal? Go Mirals. Oh, I'm gonna regret doing that. I'm gonna regret keeping that in the voiceover, but I'm going to anyway because it's just me. I'm just having fun here. It's yeah, it's really fun to do all of this stuff. I love about Inktober that you can just pretty much do whatever you want as long as you're doing it with ink. I'm still excited to keep going. I think this was a good one to do for today because this is exactly what I wanted to draw and it was on my mind, and I'm probably going to go and watch it later today anyway. So I'm doing the same thing I was doing before, saturating some of the page where I want that ink to wick out. I know a lot of people have enjoyed that process of watching the ink just bleed and feather into the water, so I thought I'd leave that in there for today and not speed through that one too much. If you're curious to know, I don't speed these up a lot because a lot of these, since I'm only using ink and just a couple of products, it's not a super involved process. It's more just some of them I redo and I restart a lot. So it may not seem like a lot just to get on here and do a quick ink illustration, but some of them I have, it's my 6th attempt at doing it, and I've spent a bunch of money on this paper already. So hopefully there's not too many more mistakes because I can't bankrupt myself trying to buy Canson watercolor paper. It is super affordable though, so if you're interested, this is a Canson watercolor paper. It's £140, I think. The ink I've linked below. That pen that I use to sketch is a platinum carbon ink fountain pen. If you just literally go to Amazon or JetPens and type in platinum carbon ink fountain pen, that one will pop up, and it's super great for sketching. I think that's the finest point one. I think there may be a medium one, but I use the extra fine or the fine or whatever it's called. So if you're curious to know about that as well, that's what that is. The ink I said I'd link below. That brush is a cheap brush from I want to say Target. Maybe it's a Crayola brush. I can't really remember what that one is. But I know I've said this before, I haven't really gone out and bought any expensive brushes. I just have what's in my kit already. So some of them are Crayola. This one I got from the Daiso. These are the brushes that I love to do the dry brush effect with. I have 2 of them. I have this thinner one and then I have a really big one, like a thicker one. And it just all depends on what I want to draw for which one I'll grab. But both of them function the same way. Just very random kind of lines you can get. Very varied in line width and very hard to control. It's a calligraphy brush. It's made for calligraphy, but I do like to paint with it because I like to get a lot of that dry brush effect, and I like kind of the randomness about the line width that I get with it. So this one was not super difficult to do. I kept it very high contrast, and by that I mean I didn't really go in with a lot of gray shading. It was just pretty much black and white. So I wanted to try that. I wanted to give that a go because I've been getting a little bit not sidetracked, what do I want to say? I've been getting a little bit caught up with doing a lot of the shading and trying to keep it particular. And sometimes I think that's just, it works against me because it's kind of a lost detail at the end of the illustration. So I wanted to give up on being too particular with that and just kind of go in with some pen work and some very, very fine line work. So I've also got a Unipin fine line here. I think this is the 01. The 01 size. So I like that. This pen is also at the end of its life, so it's kind of producing a finer line than I would say a 01 is. This is more like a 005 kind of a line, but I think you get the same effect anyway if you had a 01. It all just depends on what size your drawing is and what kind of variation you're looking for. So I think that's enough product talk. What else do I have to say about the Addams family? I just love it. I love it so much. How on earth did she only get the top part of her face lit that entire movie? Like, that's something I can't find out online. I need to find someone that was involved in the production of that movie or knows something about it, because I'm just so curious. I would like to live my life that way, where just the top part of my face is always lit and looking beautiful and pulled. So, yeah, that's just something else I love about it. I'm really drawn to the art direction of it, and I think that's why I've got a lot of coffee table books of Disney concept art as well. A lot of my inspiration doesn't so much come from the final work that someone does, but more the concepts behind it and the planning phase, the research phase, where they're just going through all the ideas. I think that's where you can get some of the most interesting stuff, because those are the initial concepts and those are the ones without any kind of restraint. It's from there that, you know, the creative team kind of dilutes some things and, punches some things out a bit harder, but it's all that unrestrained imagination. It's all that unrestrained creativity that I love to look at and draw inspiration from. I do like to take inspiration from the final piece, of course, obviously, but for me, yeah, the art direction and the overall, aesthetic of a movie or a piece or a work is what I like to get inspired by. So I think that's why I got a lot of Disney coffee table books. But I'm coming up to the end of the illustration anyway. I've got my Uniball Signo in white, that's the broad. There is a finer one, but I feel like it only works very well on smooth paper, and this just has a slight texture to it, so I use the broad, but it's very opaque, so Uniball Signo white. And yeah, until tomorrow, thanks for watching. Bye!